Joe, have I told you the one about Jesus walking into a Motel 6, putting 3 nails on the desk and saying, "Can you put me up for the night?"
No, tell me about it.
Hey, this is Jacques.
I'm Joe.
And welcome to Carnival Personnel.
That was a joke, by the way, that Jacques was trying to...
real story.
Oh,
actually
true
happened.
story. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he was on a road trip. He always carries it out. Peter, I can see your house from up here. I'll keep going if you want.
Please.
And
we got so much time to fill.
Well, thank you. That wraps this up. Again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for what few follows we're getting on the Twitter and Facebook.
We have no followers on Twitter.
That is
Four. We have me, you, Biff, and a bot from Russia, I think. I don't even think it's that classy of a bot.
What is it? Was it paid followers isn't following you? Remember, there was actually, I got the request for, paid followers are now following you.
Wow.
Yeah, that made
You're in an elite class, my brother.
Really, really good. All right, let's dive right into the exciting news that just broke over the Twitter machine. Bloatus has just announced that this coming week, he is using his presidential power to unseal the sealed JFK files.
To unseal them? I thought he was going to not release them.
No, they're being released. He's using his presidential power to release the JFK.
Okay.
Now, here's what's interesting. On October 26th, they were set to be released. I mean, legally, they had to be. But he came out today bragging that he was going to release them.
Oh, okay. Because I thought there was leading up to the release, they were afraid that they, being the rational public, was afraid that Trump was going to hesitate releasing them or withhold information or something like that. So that's surprising. He's full of surprises, that Trump.
Well, but that's the thing. The way it read, it's like he is going to use his great resources, because the people have a right to know type thing. And I bet a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's great. We found, it was set to be released years and years ago." I think it's like, what is it, like the 40th anniversary? Like when it was sealed, it was like, it has to be open on this date. Like It was a scheduled thing for a long.
Well, he's also going to use his presidential powers to allow kids to go door to door and ask for candy in a couple of weeks. So, thank goodness he's in office to let that happen.
So maybe we've been too harsh on him.
Yeah, there's good things to have about the. I can't even finish the sentence.
No, you can't. But it's like him decreeing that every day from now on will end in a Y.
Yeah, right. I use my presidential powers to turn on the light.
So that but maybe we were talking about like sideshows, maybe like JFK assassination like theories and stuff like that, with it being released this week, is something we should dive into, which has been something I've absolutely loved forever.
I bet if JFK were alive today, he would say, "Man,
I'm old."
Yeah, I had somewhere go. I was going somewhere with that, and then I fucked it up. Boo. Boo! Sit down! Boo! I'm heckling myself until Jacques jumps in.
How much do we want to dive into cowboy hats this week? You just decreed on Twitter that that's it. Enough cowboy hats.
Well, if I decreed it, then I'm using my presidential power to decree that no, we're not going to talk about David Clark and his fucking cowboy hat talking motherfucking.
Okay. Subject to recent. Further information, I will be allowing, as president, the long blocked and classified capital letters JFK files to be open.
Well, JFK is capitalized.
Right, that part is, but the files, the ILENS generally isn't, but the JFK files is to be, so that was the exact read and classified. Yeah. Well, I will be allowing as president.
So maybe he's insinuating that as president, I could not allow this, but I'm going to be a good president and allow this. I'm going to be magnanimous.
Yeah. Not as good as your Bernie Sanders, but not awful.
But, you know what? I didn't see that tweet because I unfollowed him.
Yeah, as did I. I mean, I only saw it because so many people were.
I'm letting other people comment on Twitter on his tweets. People that I like to follow, and then I'll just kind of keep up with that because I tried to block him, At first, I blocked him, and then I realized people are commenting on his tweets, and then the tweet itself is blocked. So then I couldn't get the reference, so I had to just unblock him and not follow him. And yeah, I just couldn't take it. I mean, Twitter is not fun. I mean, now that you're on there, I mean, I got all the news that I need.
Well, I mean, I did. It's like it. I never went on the Twitter. Then I dipped my toe in it, and I was like, this is way too toxic. But then, thankfully, a lot of the people that you follow, at Hold My Beer is really great.
Yeah. I like Faces and Things.
Faces and Things is good. Hold My Beer.
You had one job.
You had one job. That was the other great one. You had one job.
I'm also while we're on a little Twitter jag here. I went through an unfollowing as I was going through unfollow Trump. I unfollowed Barstool Sports. Fuck them.
Yeah, it's not a fun follow.
No, it's pretty. I think with the Harvey Weinstein stuff coming out, and now it's like, it's funny because we've known for years as adult men, as white adult men, how gross we are as white adult men.
Right.
Horrible. But now that the Harvey Weinstein stuff has made it much more of a visible thing, and it's brought a lot more attention to just how gross men are in general and how disrespectful we are towards women on a daily basis.
And each other.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
And the planet.
all disrespect matters. Is that what you're saying?
All disrespect.
Right. But what I'm saying is that the Barstool Sports stuff was a little too bro for me.
Right.
A little too dude bro. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this. I don't even follow. Like, honestly, I don't even watch, I don't watch ESPN because I don't have it. I don't watch Nesson because I don't have it. No, I'm not. I'm a kinda, sorta, not really sports fan.
The sports people that I listen to generally are a little more evolved, and they're funny, more cerebral. And honestly, there are a couple. There's 2 stations in town, and one of them is toxic. One of them is what was she? Is still. It's a bunch of older white guys who kind of have the. Well, this is horrible, but what was she wearing? I'm not saying it's her fault, but really, I mean,
yeah,
it's like, hey, if those altar boys weren't wearing such cute, animals, maybe it's like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, the toxicity. It's like, no, that's okay. But yeah, but there's a lot of, and there's some people that I like who have said, it's like, God, I miss when Twitter was talking about bands and funny things,
Yeah.
It's just too dark. Even a lot of the comedians that I like. It's like, when Patton Oswalt or somebody, he'll usually say something funny, but sometimes it's like, I can't make this funny. This is just sick,
Andy Richter's another one.
Really funny. Really, really funny, which I just started following. And it's funny talking about that, I wait this week, the awful comments, truly, what happened with the 4, dead soldiers and
Niger.
And not saying anything for 2 weeks. And then the media's like, why aren't you saying anything for 2 weeks? And, different stories have come out. And then he went and he called, the woman. Well, first of all, he calls the woman.
The mother of one of the soldiers.
Yeah, the widow of one of the soldiers.
The widow, I'm sorry.
Whose mother was in the car along with a local congressperson who heard the whole conversation. And in my head, I'm like, and I had texted Joe. It's like, he went full airplane. He went they bought their tickets, and I'm thinking, that's not funny. Like, I was gonna, I was gonna tweet that up, but then I'm like, no, here's somebody dead. This is a service person. And then of course, what happened? No, I never said that and I have proof. Like, he had proof with Comey, and Comey had the best response when he's like, well, there might be tapes of the conversation, and Comey was like, oh Lordy, I hope there are. And it's like, I mean, seriously, a character, like, sometimes Comey talks like a character that fell out of the Andy Griffith show. Oh Lordy, I hope there are tapes. To date, I don't remember those tapes coming out.
No.
And there's been so many other times where it's like, well, I have proof.
You know which tape we're all waiting for, though.
Yeah, the PP tape from Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And, but so, then the other people in the car said, no, this is what he said. And of course, what does Trump do? Turns around and goes, well, at least I called. None of the other presidents have called. And it's like, and he points to
Obama and Bush.
Right. And then he points to, like, hey, look, I have, with Bush and soldiers coming back and hiding that from the public, that's an awful thing. That's a story for another awful day. But he points to his chief of staff, the General Kelly, and he says he didn't call General Kelly. recently, Kelly has been credited with being an adult in the office, has been kind of somewhat keeping him bay. And we talked last week that Rex, as much as we despise the head of Exxon and Putin's pal being the Secretary of State, at least there are some people who are rationally sane, somewhat holding him together. Kelly doesn't say shit. The first day this comes out, doesn't say anything, but then it comes out, it's like, no, Obama didn't call him. What he did is he invited him and his wife to a breakfast at the White House with other Gold Star families to thank them in person, versus making a phone call in which Trump doesn't remember the soldier's name, says, well, he knew what he was doing when he signed up for it, but I guess it hurts anyways.
He knew what he was getting into.
The body, the wife has...
Unlike a lot of my girlfriends.
You don't call women passing by that you just grab and kiss because you're automatically attracted to them. That's the exact quote. But that's the awful thing. It's like, and Kelly doesn't step up and say, well, maybe he didn't call me, but he invited my wife and I to this dinner or this breakfast, and he thanked us in person, and he commiserated in person, and he consoled in person. And then Kelly, 2 days later, because the heat doesn't go away, comes out and says, well, soldiers do know what they're signing up for. It's like, really? You first of all, by saying, soldier, you're backing that what the Congresswoman had claimed was said after Trump emphatically denied having said the awful comment.
Hey, you got to suck up to your boss any which way you can.
But that's it. At this point, and we said it after the Very Fine People incident. If you know your boss is a white supremacist piece of shit racist, and you are okay going to work for him every day, and some of the arguments is like, well, some people feel they hate it, but they're doing a public service that they have to, that, he's an awful person to be around, but they're no, if General Kelly, and then of course, he gets heat for this, and Huckabee Sanders, comes out and says it's inappropriate to question a general. It's like, is it? Okay, I'll agree. I'll concede that. I'm with you. Who was a candidate last year who was saying the generals are doing a horrible job fighting ISIS, and I know more about fighting ISIS than they do? Which candidate was that? I can't remember that prick's name. Oh, yeah. Anyways, so when she comes out and says something, it's inappropriate because, as we know, the cornerstone of every democracy is blindly following military leaders, unquestioning.
Right. Hey, work for Germany.
How did that turn out? I didn't watch the end of that
have
movie.
a lot of problems with remembering facts.
It's like I'm a Republican.
Oh.
So, but yet again, on happier news,
How could that be? How we'd be getting any happier?
Puerto Rico's still in disarray.
It's still above water.
It's barely.
All right.
Barely. And it's like a couple weeks ago when there was reporting that they were unsealing those sealed off wells because of contamination, and people are breaking into them because it's like, I might die drinking this water, but I'm definitely going to die if I don't drink the water. Yeah, they've now unsealed them, and they're trying to treat them because still you have, and the company, now I believe in coincidence. This is just a coincidence. But the new head of the Department of Homeland Security, she was communications director during Katrina. And if there's one thing we knew about Katrina, is that the communication between the needs of the people and the responders, flawless. And they just gave a no bid, I think it was a $37 million contract to the same water delivery people that they gave during Katrina. Because again, no hiccups with the relief effort during Katrina.
Right.
So that's still going on. But on a scale of 1 to 10, Blotus gets a 10 on his Puerto Rico response.
Did you see the mayor of San Juan's response to him saying he got a 10?
Cruz?
Yeah.
What did she?
She said, yeah, he got a 10 out of 100.
Oh, but that's the thing. People are dying. Since then, here's the mayor of the largest city of like 1.3 million people on national TV pleading for the world. Anybody who can hear us, please help us. And Blotus is sitting back saying, yeah, I give myself a 10,
Yeah.
It's like, How bad would it have to be for him to, let's say, have given himself a 9?
I won't give myself a 10. You're right. I'll give myself a 10. Puerto Rico.
See what he's doing.
We love Puerto Rico.
All right, enough of this fun stuff. Let's get on to the boring mundane. How was your outing last weekend?
Hey, man, what I do in my private time? Oh, yeah, we're talking about the secret gay outings.
I was
that
thinking if your hair
I'm
and
secretly
our
gay.
hair
I'm
and
coming
I'm
out on
here,
the air and nobody cares.
Doesn't that make it our time, Mr. Dan? Nothing wrong with a little pizza on our time.
Yes. How was my outing at the RetroWorld Expo? Is that what you meant?
And your beloved children.
Oh, them. Yeah. It was
Your future designated drivers.
yeah. It was fine. It was fine. It was nice. We got there. I got to stop saying Remember, Joe, stop saying It makes it easier in the editing process if you stop saying
But there are things that make you say,
Right. That's totally
different.
acceptable.
Okay. Thin line.
Yeah, we got there in record time. There I go saying again. I'm gonna say that I'm not editing this episode. I'm flat out not editing this episode. I have to teach me a lesson to not say to speak normally, and to get my point across. But when we got there, it was fun. We walked the grounds. We saw an inflatable Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in the back because the Connecticut Ghostbusters organization or whatever were raising money for a charity. They were all dressed up in their Ghostbusters regalia, into which I immediately regretted not wearing my Ghostbusters
We
costume.
talked about if you were going to cosplay.
No, I should have. That's my only cause. Is the is that Ghostbusters costume with the inflatable proton pack. But we saw that. There are lots of video games. The kids really like the pinball games.
The olds are cool. But pinball machines are made, like when we talked to Robert, a few months ago, he was looking at getting a pinball machine, and he was saying that pinball machines are more expensive.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
than the retro video, like the stand-up.
They're all mechanical, yeah, because they're all mechanical. So it's mechanical. It takes a lot of effort to maintain those machines. We played the Terminator 2 machine. It was conking out every so often. We played the new Ghostbusters pinball machine, which was great.
Is it the Ghostbusters reboot or the original cast?
I believe it was the 84
Okay.
Ghostbusters. I believe it was the 84 Ghostbusters. Yeah. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That was fun. I got to play a version of Pressure Luck. They had like this little kind of powwow in the middle where they brought in this entertainment group that put up a big screen, and they were it wasn't even video game themed. It was just like, we're going to play Pressure Luck and then give out t-shirts at the end. So I got to live out my dream, my second dream of playing Press Your Luck, and I lost. I got 4 whammies, which means that you're eliminated from the game once you get the 4 whammies.
You're explaining that to the people listening, not me, of course,
Right.
who knows all the intricacies of the rules of Pressure Luck.
Yes.
Which you're doing right now.
Right. Expertly.
No whammies, no whammies.
I was the most annoying douche, man. My kids were watching on. I'm surprised they weren't covering their heads in shame, but I was the only one that knew the vernacular of the no whammies, big bucks, and stop. That kind of talk that nobody else would know because they're in their 20s and never saw Pressure Luck. But we had a good time. There I go saying again. Stop saying
But you did. It was how many people are there? When you said the grounds, it wasn't indoors. It was indoor, outdoors.
No. It was indoors.
Okay.
I just don't know how to speak English. But we met some people. No, actually, no. But we didn't meet anybody. I met again Pat Contry from the book that we like to quote
every time. We
the
do
Ultimate
a
Nintendo
random
books. I met him. Bought a couple of DVDs. He was literally just wrapping up. He was like on the way out, and I was like the asshole that kind of said, hey,
let me give you $40 to buy some more
yes,
DVDs.
and he
which
signed them for me.
Quite sure he hated taking your money.
Right? Oh God, yeah. He probably would have given me $40 to leave him alone.
But did you, but these were interesting when I was going through like Joe's finds from the trip. I mean, this guy Pat Condry, these DVDs. And what are these? These are collections of his
YouTube
posted-
show. Yeah.
And it's really, I mean, the packaging is pretty amazing. I'm not being smart. I said something to management on the way home from our one date night in like a year last night. And I realized, and I said it to you, it's like everything that comes out of my mouth sounds sarcastic.
Right.
Because a good 90% is, but the 10% of time, it's like, hey, do you want to grab pizza on the way home? Yeah, I'd love to grab pizza. And I know how it sounds to absolutely everybody. Yeah, I'd love to grab pizza. What a real treat for me to have pizza. No, I actually mean that the packaging of this was really impressive.
Yeah, it is. He does a good job. Your line about you sounding always sarcastic reminds me of an old Janine Garofalo line where in her stand-up she said, that's probably why I don't get a lot of commercial work. You sound like you hate the product.
But we'll do a review of which Joe, I can attest to the review from Joe that will be forthcoming from the Nintendo game that you just brought.
Oh, yes.
Dino
Wars.
with a Y.
And a Z.
C. Because when I got here and he was going over what he bought, I'm like, oh, great. Have you played it? He's like, no. I'm like, well, play it so you can review it, which turned into having to unplug a couple things, re-run a wire.
I think I tore my ACL.
Redefine the laws of physics, but popped in the game, boot it right up. Little surprise when you buy one of those things and you get it home. It's like, is this going to work?
Right. Then go figure. Some of these vendors are reputable and they actually sell a good product.
So we will get to that review.
Yeah, but let's talk about your big date night.
My big date night. I got a birthday present back in June, which was Jim Gaffigan tickets last Friday night. Fantastic. Absolutely. Everything about it, was fantastic. He was shooting. He's been in Boston since Wednesday. So Wednesday through Saturday. So he's shooting 2 shows a day. So he's going to wear the same things depending on which joke, which funny. His opening act, we were in the first balcony and I'm like, he has really funky shoes on. What it is, and he joked about it. They had plastic coverings on his shoes because they had wax the stage to make it really, shiny and stuff for Jim Gaffigan. And they're like, yeah, he didn't want me muttering up all his stage before he comes. So the great thing is, as much as I love comedy, which we talk about, and how much comedy I watch on, we talked about last week, Netflix and stuff like that. I'm like, I've seen so much. I can do so many Gaffigan routines. But then when the director came out and he said, oh, we're shooting it, that's the first I realized this is all new stuff. So it was really, really great. And there was a couple parts that it wasn't rough at all, but you can tell are going to be polished up a little bit and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it was absolutely fantastic. It was all new stuff.
Yeah. Jim Gaffigan, white guy?
White. And that's without, spoiler alert. He's like, yeah, Trump's pretty awful, but, I'm a straight middle class white guy. I think I'll be okay.
Yep.
And then he said, because he lives in New York, and he goes, I know how I look. I know as I'm walking around, people are looking at me like, it's your fault. I didn't vote. I just started walking up and down the street. I didn't vote for him. I know what I look like. I didn't vote for him. So it was good. And then one of the many highlights.
Are you going to do his routine now before it airs?
But he, does a routine. Great. Gets a big round of applause and then comes back and plays the hits. He came out and did 10 minutes on Hot Pockets.
Right. Oh, yeah. Hot Pockets.
And it's all the Hot Pocket stuff.
Do McDonald's.
But he did. He went into the whole Hot Pocket thing, like being in a nice restaurant. What are your specials? We have a sea bass that was filleted and blah, blah, blah. And the Hot Pocket. Is it cold in the middle? It's frozen. He goes in now, I saw they have multigrain Hot Pockets now. Yeah, that was keeping people back.
Are you like at a Springsteen concert where instead of singing along to lyrics, you're like mouthing along to the punchline?
Yes, yeah. And it was it was a really, really great night. I don't know the last time I've gone and seen
live stand up,
somebody like that. You've been to the restaurant you go to every Tuesday, and you stumble in there on a Wednesday, and it's like, oh, it's open mic. This is going to be a treat for everybody, you know. So I've seen a couple of that, but yeah, it was really, really, really great.
Yeah, I think the last comedy show that I saw, aside from Weird Al Yankovic, of course, was Conan O'Brien's tour when he got kicked off of NBC.
You saw it here, like,
And you saw it in LA.
Yeah, we saw it in LA. And
Jim Carrey was the special guest at yours.
It was which was, I mean, it's in LA, so it wasn't,
Right.
you know, he had to make a 5-mile drive over, but
I think
it was
we got
fantastic.
Steve Sweeney. I think.
And it was right at, and I was surprised. It was right after the NBC, you know, thing. So that was, let me see, do the math, a long time ago.
2010, right?
So that's, yeah, I was trying
20,
to think.
maybe even 2009, something like that. I actually got a picture of myself with Andy Richter and my management with Conan.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, on my BlackBerry with it had no like light, like it had no light before you took the picture. Luckily, it had a flash as you took the picture, but I couldn't, like, I was shooting blind. Like he came out afterwards to meet the crowd standing outside the building to sign autographs, and so he looks at my management and he says, "Oh, how you doing?" And she goes, "Good." And she kind of meekly like holds up her camera, like she doesn't even say, "Can I take a picture?" I don't think. And he kind of like he looks and he hesitates for like a second, but then he sees the Irishness in her, and then
You can't hide that.
no,
You really
and
can't.
then so he was able to take the picture, and then I got one with Andy, and I don't know why I'm talking about something from 10 years ago.
Because we're talking about the last time we've seen live things, and that was great. And and it's one of the things as I'm sitting there, I'm like, why don't I do more of this? Why don't I go out? And it's like, oh, it's because I had to get my kids from point A to point B, and then from point B to point C, run to the train station, take the train in. Management leaves work. It was like a 7:30 show. I will say, and maybe we'll talk about this, but I'm moving over this week and next week, and where we're moving to, it's still on the line that goes right to North Station. It was I don't know the last time. I think the last time
The
I
Orange
was,
Line, yeah.
but no, from the suburbs, from like Lowell and Wilmington.
Oh, the commuter rail.
The commuter rail,
Right.
Honestly, I got on the commuter rail at 5:03, and the schedule said 5:03 it was going to be in. Got right on time, got in. Like, didn't have to pay for parking. Honestly, send out a few tweets because, that's what us millennials do.
Right.
And boom, like right in North Station. I'm like, I forgot how easy this is. And the last time I was on the commuter rail was in June of 2011 when you and I met with your kids and my entire family for the Bruins parade.
Oh, wow.
But it was so easy. Walked across the street, Orange Line, and like it dumps off a block from the Wilbur. Honestly, it was like, oh, we actually have time to go and get something to eat.
You don't have to hassle with parking.
No.
I forgot, like I didn't forget, I never took the commuter rail because I always lived right next to the subway stop. So I would always have to deal with the urine stench or the vomit,
Right.
Or you don't get that so much on the commuter rail. It kind of weeds out the riffraff.
A little bit, but it was it's great. So when we move like the next couple weeks, it's nice to know. It's like, okay, if I'm going to go to a Bruins game and drink so much the Statue of Liberty looks hot, to quote Peter Griffin, it will drop me. The commuter rail is a 25-30-minute thing, which honestly, by the time you got out of any $40 parking structure after a Bruins game or a concert, it's going to take you forever. So, long story longer, it was a great night. Like everything about it. So if I saw this and they just shot, they're shooting this special now, so it will probably be on Netflix in 6 months. But I was really, it's one of those things. It's like when you go to see a band, you kind of want to hear the hits, but at the same time, it's like, I know all the hits back and forth, and it was really a great set.
I would probably see more comedy shows if I could afford it. But luckily, we have a way in which to earn some of that money. That's right. It's from our defunct sponsor of the week.
Make Halloween fun and easy. One-stop shopping at Woolworth or Woolco for your Halloween needs. Costumes from $1.83 to $3.99, like $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman, superheroes, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and a new favorite for girls, Holly Hobby. You can get wrapped candies of every kind. Bubblegum, lollipops, fun-size candy bars. Get this Halloween record, Sounds to Make You Shiver, just $1.89. Make Halloween fun and easy. Make just one stop at Woolworth or Woolco.
Sale.
All that defunct sponsor money just roll it in.
Literally rolling because it's coins.
Doubloons.
Doubloons.
Actually, no. Doubloons would be a little,
Yeah, right.
worth a whole heck of a lot more. Now it's everybody's favorite part of the show outside of the New England area. It's Patriot Talk.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. So the Patriots played the Atlanta Falcons last night. As we know, Super Bowl recap. I can't believe that once again the Patriots were down 28-3 with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left in the third quarter.
Right.
Oh no!
No, you were
actually,
just rewatching.
Yeah, Super Bowl. Is that what I did?
And it wasn't even on a device. It was in your mind.
No, actually, I rewatched the Techno Bowl,
Tecmo
Bowl recap of it. So that was, and really, that just as exciting, inducing for me. What is it? 10 months later,
right? I didn't think he could do it twice,
but I of course had predicted my lock of the week 28-14, and our friend Jim's lock of the week was he picked the Falcons 45-25. Well, he said 40 to 45 points the Falcons were going to put up, and the Patriots would put up 25-30.
So Jacques' lock of last week was 28-14. Is 28-14.
And we know. So Jim and I had a bet where whoever was closest, if I was closest without going over,
Price is Right rules. Respect.
The Jim was for a week going to wear an "I'm with her" Hillary T-shirt. And
under his Trump shirt, of course.
And if
the loophole, Jim.
If the Falcons had won, I was going to curl up in a fetal position and cry for the next 4 days.
You do that anyway, though.
Yeah. So that was. But there I am with you. The Patriots have some defensive problems. An interesting fact that I was reading this week, because what few things I read happen to be about like how stupid Blotus is and how great the Patriots are. You should write a song about that.
Yeah, maybe one day.
One day. So in the offseason, everybody on the national media, the local media, pricks like me, were so elated that the Patriots, quote unquote, won the offseason. And I hated saying that because the previous 2 years in a row, Rex Ryan had bragged how the Bills had won the offseason, which they did. The Bills had great offseasons. Didn't translate on the field. But the Patriots had all of these great moves where, the Jets were dropping people left and right, their star players. And Buffalo, we had taken Gillislee, Buffalo's number one running back the last few seasons. We had taken Gilmore, their shutdown corner. You go down the list of all the people that the Patriots got in the offseason. They got Cooks for their first-round draft pick. The national media, not the local guys, not me, not Sully in the bar, is 19-0 a realistic thing. Going into the season, everybody thought, and obviously hasn't worked out this way. Cooks has sort of worked out. Cooks has made a lot of great catches, but for every one great toe-tapping catch in an end zone to win a game, he's dropped 10 feet passes where it went through his hands, hit squarely between the numbers, and dropped down to his feet. So he's sort of panned out. Everybody else hasn't. And one of the interesting things is so many of the players that the Patriots went and got came from losing franchises, and not they had a losing record last year. These players have played in franchises for their whole careers, 3, 4, 5 years, where they've been chronic losers, where they are out of playoff contention by this point of the season. By week 7, they're on teams that are 2-5, 3-4, with the hard part of their schedule coming up. And the theory is, it's like, that's a hard mentality to get over. That games mean something, that every game really means that, look, if you lose this game in early October when you were playing with Buffalo, it didn't really fucking matter. If you were playing for the Jets, it didn't matter. If you were playing for different teams, like Cooks, this is his 3rd year in the NFL, and the Saints are a decent organization, or his 4th year in the NFL. They're a decent organization. He's never played a playoff game. So not only are these guys don't realize, like, you know, what it takes to win and win consistently, that, you know, 3 years ago when the Patriots, you know, played Denver in the middle of the season, it's week 10 and everybody's like, this game really matters because these two teams are going to face each other in the AFC conference game.
Yep.
Even though they both had 6 games left to go, pretty much it was, those were the 1 and 2 teams. And when the Patriots lost that game, everyone's like, well, fuck, we can't win in Denver, blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly what it panned out. In New England, and this is why people hate us, we argue over which of the 5 championships was the best.
Right.
And now people are upset because we're not going, we might not get home field throughout. Like we're still clinging to, okay, we're going to get a week 1 playoff bye.
Yep.
And we're going to play round 2 at home, but we might have to be on the road for and the people who they've brought in come from losing cultures, losing mentalities. And at this point of the season, this is a part of the season where, you know, week 5, week 6, you start to see separation. Week 7 or 8 is where you know what you have for a team. You know, people can go down, all that kind of stuff can always happen. But that's where you really get a sense. And when you look at the Patriots records in November and December, you know, Tom Brady for his career is like a 70, 80 winning percentage, which is mind-numbing. Because when you look, last week he became the winningest regular season quarterback of all time. Last year or 2 years ago, he became the winningest quarterback because he had played so many more playoff games. But when you look at his November and December numbers, they're disgusting. I don't get the feeling that they're going to be able to do this because, honestly, they have too many losers in the locker room, people who are losers. And now people are like, oh, well, Revis is still out there. Maybe you go and pick up Revis. It's like, Revis had 1 winning year. Like, he had 2 winning seasons with the Jets 6-7 years ago, but every other season in his 9-year career, except his 1 year with the Patriots, he was in a losing organization. I don't think he's a guy who turns the locker room around.
Sorry, Jacques, I had to do something real quick. What were you saying?
Well, what do you think of the collective bargaining in the AFC? So that's like I said, that's everybody's favorite thing. On another Boston sports note, off season again, the Celtics are another team that went out and won the off season. You know, they made the big trade with Cleveland, Isaiah Thomas, and stuff like that. They went out and got, you know, Howard, who had played under the Celtics coach in college. 5.5 minutes into the season,
Bada bing, bada boom.
and it was one of those things where,
He twisted, or he broke his ankle.
and if you're a sick fuck who likes sick fuck photography, you know, he's laying on the court and his foot is facing the wrong way. It is gruesome, you know, and you don't usually hear announcers just instantly, you know, sitting courtside say, oh, that's broken. That's a bad break. He's out for the year. It's exactly what it was. I mean, it was absolutely gruesome. So let's recap. The Patriots aren't nearly what we had hoped and thought. The Celtics season is all but over.
But Kyrie Irving thinks that his ankle isn't broken. That it's, you know, he's an broken ankle denier.
The flat Earth guy, yes.
Yeah.
So for those who don't get, like, and now he's recently said no, that's a great thing because he recently has said that, you know, I was kidding about that. I don't think he was.
Like the president's always kidding.
Yeah,
that jokester.
Just can't get enough of that good stuff. So now that we've got through the wake up, everybody, wake up because we're getting to the fun part. Joe's not
What?
random video review of the week. We're not doing a random video review. We're doing
a fully scripted. This has been pre-planned for months, in the works. It's in the box.
Oh, I was looking for the disc.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Who cares? Dino Wars. I picked it up at the RetroWorld Expo because it was the cheapest game that I didn't have in my collection, and it seemed interesting because on the cover it has like this shiny Boba Fett looking guy shooting a green laser gun. The laser going through the cheek bone of a dinosaur head.
Red dinosaur.
Right.
Which we know, red dinosaurs are the scariest.
They are. Right. But all dinosaurs matter. Let's
They really do.
Stop it. Stop it. I popped it in real quick, as Jacques mentioned before. We put it in, and it plays kind of clunky. I don't know. It's not very impressive. Maybe it gets better as it goes along. Maybe it doesn't.
Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
But we now know. So at one point, it's, what do you call it when it's a left to right, just scroll?
Like a side scroller.
Side scroller. It's very Mario-ish, where you jump from this to this.
Don't besmirch Mario.
No. But there might be a gap, and if you don't jump over the gap, you
fall in the pit.
Which
yeah.
Now we know how the dinosaurs died.
I fell in that pit twice. I pressed the A button to jump, and twice, and fell right in.
Well, you went through a few screens, and then you
enter like this mechanical dinosaur, and then so it looks like. But
is that where Michael Bay got the idea for the awful dinosaur storyline in the last Transformers? If you haven't seen it,
I have not seen it.
Oh,
but
don't.
Okay, no, but you enter as this soldier into like the head of a large, behemoth of a dinosaur, mechanical dinosaur, and it shows like a pretty impressive graphic as you're entering, and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Then it cuts to the actual gameplay, and you look like the orange dinosaur that used to house or live in the Route 1 Saugus miniature golf. Like, that's the dinosaur.
That's still there.
I know. Right. They didn't tear it down. They're building a complex there, but they left the dinosaur.
I think it was declared like a public landmark.
It's kind of like an up.
That.
Where they built, and in the movie Up, they built around the house. Like, they built around the dinosaur in this case. But yeah, I don't know. This game looks like it would be a bad time if I kept playing it. What did Pat Contry give it? He gave it probably 3 stars. Yes, 3 whole stars.
You know your friend. You're pals with Pat at this point.
No.
You gave him money and you buy all his products.
I bought his friendship. I bought his friendship. Dino Wars, Destruction of Spondylus. Players take control of the Cyborosaurus, a robot dinosaur, and set out to destroy lots of enemy robosaurs to save the planets of the Spondylus system. Reflections by Pat Contry. Dinosaur robots? This could be one of the coolest ideas for an NES game. What 8-year-old wouldn't want to control a robot T-Rex shooting lasers at other robot dinos? It's just a shame that at all levels play exactly the same with little differences between them. So, I agree, Pat.
And how much did we go into Hawk for? So it was get the kids braces or buy Dino.
Right. So this was $4, so I wonder,
card only.
Card only, it was $4. Oh, did you look it up on eBay? Okay. I was going to see.
I thought about looking up, but I'm like,
you bought it.
If it's $1,
right,
you'll feel ripped off, and if it's $20, you'll just go spin that. Money will burn a hole in your pocket.
Exactly. We don't need defunct sponsors.
You won't be. Well, always need defunct sponsors.
That's true.
We need defunct sponsors, or we need Senator Sanders back in here doing Squatty Potty.
Nah, he's too busy.
Or is he saving the world?
He is.
Oh man, that is.
But yes, Dino Wars, stay away.
So now we'll dive into my Netflix pick of the week, which funny enough, stand-up comedy. Patton Oswalt has a new stand-up, Annihilation. I don't think you've seen it yet.
No, I have.
So you want me to just do the whole routine like I did Jim Gaffigan?
Right, exactly. No, well, at least this aired.
It aired.
Jim Gaffigan's routine hasn't aired. Right.
It's coming out in the future, so I've seen
the future, Conan.
I've seen the future, Joe.
Talk about Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt. It lives up to the hype. For about a week before, people who had seen it, people in the industry, little showing parties or whatever, were saying how great it was. And it does. And it's bitterly sweet at some points because a good part of his routine, he doesn't talk too much about his wife's sudden passing last year. He talks a lot about, being a father to
to Alice.
What do you call like a husband who loses a wife?
A
widower. What's a child who loses?
No, they don't know.
Just there's Bruce Wayne. Anyways,
yeah.
And I've seen
is she partially orphaned? Like, is she is that it? Like, if she lost both her parents,
she'd be an orphan. Like the poor Menendez boys.
Yeah, those poor kids can't catch a break in life.
It was great, but it was. Well, he's just at the top of his game. He's just one of the best, and he can pretty much be pulling, water droplets, not really tears, so to speak, at the same time, be talking gross porn,
Oh yeah.
And he can toggle from one extreme to the other. And I just imagine that must have been a therapeutic thing for him to do, at the same time, a really hard thing for him to do. But the stuff about dealing with his daughter, who you look at Patton Oswalt and you think, this is a guy who's well equipped to, be a single parent to a small child. And it was great. It's well worth it. It might be my favorite or second favorite Patton Oswalt thing on Netflix, and I think there's 5 routines of his up there.
Yep.
But it's classic Patton Oswalt, where it's because he didn't work in porn. He worked when he got to, when he first moved out to San Francisco to start in comedy, worked at a company that shipped adult products and stuff, and he always references, having to take that job to be able to sustain his weight in comedy and stuff. But it was great. It was really great. And again, there's a little bit of like the Trump stuff in there, much like when Mark Maron came out and the first thing he said is like, I don't know what he's going to do next. There was a bit of, hey, I'm commenting on this, but don't look to me as having any fucking idea where this goes, next, or so to speak.
Yeah. And it was directed by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Which, we've talked about this, quite a bit. I could not, we like to recommend other podcasts, but I don't know if it's still on the free part of
the Gilbert Gottfried Amazing Colossal podcast. Probably. I think if it was in the last 6 months, which I believe it was, it's still up there on iTunes.
That's one of the 3 best Gilbert episodes. Is Bobcat. It's one of those people where you realize that's completely an act. Everything about that character, everything him on stage, and those award-winning Police Academy movies. I don't think they won any.
No,
maybe Razzies. They might have won some Razzies.
Right.
But just completely an act. He's a really smart, well-spoken, well-thought, thoughtful kind
At this
of guy.
point, shouldn't we determine that all stand-up comedy is an act? Like they're not really like that person in real life, like that it's all sort of contrived and that they're performers. Like, shouldn't we expect that of everybody? Like, did anybody really think that Bobcat Goldthwait walked around? Well, maybe back in the naive 1980s.
How about Tracy Morgan?
No,
I think what you see is what you get with Tracy Morgan.
He's about as close to what you see as what you get. But yeah, that's played up a little bit. They all are, because it's a performance, man. You gotta hit the notes every single night, and the only way to do it is to practice.
So when I was trying to work out some bits for a new routine, going off about how awful my life and management are with me, we all know that it's just a bit.
It is.
That everything is...
You're playing a character.
Sunshiny and roses.
Yes.
And that I'd have... The only complaint that I have is I don't really have anything to complain about.
Right.
Because again, with Blotus in the office, I'm a straight middle-class white guy. I think I'm going to be okay here.
I heard somebody say that recently.
So, hey, do you have a Netflix pick? And don't say Castlevania. We covered that last week in last week's podcast, which, by the way, if you are listening to these out of order, I don't understand that at all. Go back, listen to last week's Castlevania. You have the whole realm opened up to you, and including the Netflix 4-episode series, and there's going to be an 8 or 12 episode.
Yeah, 8 more episodes next year. But my Netflix pick of the week, honestly, all I've seen was the Patton Oswalt, and I'm watching something now called the Markowitz Stories, which is Adam Sandler, Dustin Hoffman, Ben Stiller. It's like one of those one of those like quirky family dynamic movies. They're all adult children of Dustin Hoffman, and they have some sort of story. I don't know. I'm kind of halfway into it. It's a good movie. It's pretty, it's decent. I was surprised to see it on Netflix because it looks like something you'd see like, on. I think you'll see a lot more quality original movies being premiered on Netflix now that Netflix is pouring billions of dollars into
and that's
into their
billion
program.
with a B, and that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, as Jim pointed out to us a couple of episodes ago, that they had like $6 billion just waiting to spend on high quality program. But I think you're going to see like A-list act, like Dustin Hoffman, Adam Sandler.
Right.
Say what you want about Adam Sandler in his original stuff.
Adam Sandler, there was just
has a
that
deal.
stat. No, he has been the most watched person in the history of Netflix, and he's kind of off my radar. But the deal that he struck and the number of movies, a number of original movies that they have seen, and how many people have watched them worldwide. I mean, he's in their realm. He's still an A-lister.
I wouldn't be surprised that if by next year we see, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we see, I don't know, maybe the Academy doesn't allow this. I think maybe it has to premiere in the theaters in order for it to qualify for an Academy Award. But maybe Netflix could have an Academy Award winning movie in their arsenal in about a year or so because of the quality of because of the money that they have.
Well, you think there's been over like the last couple years. I mean, it was groundbreaking. It was groundbreaking going back when HBO started to win Emmys, and now you have more and more shows on Hulu and
Amazon
and Netflix. Just completely dominating like the Emmy world. So by next week's podcast, Stranger Things season 2 will have aired. 12. Are they going with another 12 episodes? Do you know much about it?
No,
I don't want to look into it.
Right.
Like I want to know nothing. Like what was
I know
interesting,
nothing?
I saw at the mall they had one of those last minute thrown up in an empty store Halloween costume thing, and they had the big window designs like covering like the whole windows of different costumes, and you got your standard superhero costumes and Disney costumes. There was an 11,
yeah,
and she's carrying an Eggo pocketbook and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. But so are you? I know you jumped on it right away. Are you? It comes out on the 27th. You're just going to binge watch the.
They're hour-long episodes, so I might not binge watch them, but I might churn them out over a weekend. So I guess that's binge. I'll be mini binge watching it. What I do want to mention about Stranger Things, which I thought was cool, is that at Target, and I think this is a Target exclusive. And I was talking to Jacques about this before the podcast. The Stranger Things season 1 Blu-ray has come out, and in Target, the packaging for the Stranger Things season 1 Blu-ray is a VHS tape cartridge. Like it looks like an old like a Stephen King kind of Christine.
Hold it up a little higher.
Yeah, right here. I'm miming it. Listen, man. This is the way I work. This is my art form. You can't.
It's interpretive dance.
I can't hide what's inside. So, but it looks great. It was just like I thought that was the coolest thing. And the only thing I don't like about it is that they have those the anti-theft devices strapped. Oh no, but they strapped onto them.
Right.
And they crimp the boxes.
Oh,
so when you take
and you have the creases and stuff, which kills the value.
The sentimental value, maybe. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe next week we'll have a recap of Stranger Things, or at least the first few episodes.
I don't know. That's spoilers.
But I am. We got into it late, not this past summer, but the summer before when it came out. I mean, that's the good thing about getting into something late. I didn't have that long of a gap to wait for season 2, but management and the oldest little guy, they watched it like the summer before. It was kind of like their mommy and me time together, because that's the kind of family that we are. Like when she would, get back from work, that's when we were traveling through France and stuff, and every couple
He was
days.
traveling through France.
Shut it. Every couple days they would, sidebar. It's like we spent the whole summer traveling through France and Italy, staying at the most jaw-droppingly amazing hotels, we saw the Statue of David, we have a friend, Orly, who's going to be on our podcast who works in the film industry in France. She's a pilot. He got to fly a plane, not go up in the plane, actually take controls of the plane, all this stuff. Ask him what the best part of that summer was, and he'll say watching Stranger Things with his mom and balsamic and bread at all the hotels we stayed at, which it's hard not to say that the bread in France was
exquisite.
It really was. It lived up to the hype. But anyway, so I just, after everybody else, I think I got a notification from Netflix congratulating me of having been the last person to have seen Stranger Things. But our little guy, who is 7, we all watched as a family about 2 months ago, and then of course, it's like, we have to wait 3 whole months, and the wife's like, I had to wait 2 years.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, yeah, and I am looking forward to it because a theme for that season that's coming up is all the kids are dressed up for Halloween in 1984, which
what anything come out in 1984? Nothing.
Not any great movie that I can think of that requires proton packs.
So this is now the second reference of Ghostbusters
yes,
per podcast.
So only 3 more to go.
Let me cross that out. I'm trying to keep track of it. That. Yeah, I saw I got.
Don't cross off the streams. No, shut up.
See,
shut up.
Don't cross the streams is anyways.
Yeah.
But I saw that one. I was watching something on YouTube, and it was like a 5-second promo, and I don't want to see certain things, but all you see, you don't know it's a Stranger Thing. That you hear a doorbell ring, the door open, and the 3 kids are standing there, which is great that they got a black kid to be, so they really were able to round it out. So
yes, he got to play Winston. Thanks for pointing that out. I'm glad that you noticed that. That was the thing that you lasered in on.
Hey, anyway.
Michael Richards over there. Any parenting tips?
It's funny that you bring up parenting tips and racism at the same time. Now, seriously, the 2 little guys get off the bus, on Friday. And this, again, everything I say sounds like the premise of a joke or just completely sarcastic. But the little guy says, he says his brothers are racist. I'm like, what? And his older brother's like, I didn't say that. I just said he has too many girlfriends. And the little guy says, I'm like, that's not racist. He goes, well, the new girl I'm in love with is brown. And I'm like, saying you have too many girlfriends doesn't make him a racist, dude. And parenting tip of the week, can't have too many girlfriends.
Okay.
I put it right out there to him. I'm like, dude, seriously, you're 7. See what's out there. Don't, put all your hearts in one basket right now.
Little Harvey Weinstein over there.
No. He can't produce movies. Have you seen
He's
the
not
scripts?
Jewish.
Have you seen the scripts he's written? First of all, that's oh, great. Now I got to get him circumcised. But I do know a Moyle who works for Tips. Oh,
shut up.
What about you? Do you get a parenting tape coming back this way?
Nah, what do I do?
Do you tell your boys that you can never have too many girlfriends?
Or boyfriends.
It's
the year 2017, man.
Let's not
Come
judge.
on, let's go.
Seriously.
What are you doing? No, I don't have a good parenting tip of the week because, again, I failed my kids by, dragging them away from a family event that we were supposed to go to instead of the RetroWorld Expo. So I dragged them to the RetroWorld Expo instead of attending.
Did they go kicking and screaming?
No.
Given the choice, what would they have rathered?
I gave them the choice. I didn't actually give them a choice. I said, do we still want to go to the RetroWorld Expo, knowing what else kind of we had sort of a commitment to? And they said, yeah. So I said, okay, I guess we're going to that.
Yeah.
So I took them to that. My management, I like to say management because you say management. My management went to the family function. My side of the family. It wasn't like her side of the family.
Just your side of the family like her or you better?
everybody likes her better.
Right. So
They'd rather that
so-
I actually did them a favor by not being there.
Exactly. You were a good dad.
But they probably wanted to see my children, so I took the children away from them. So therefore, I'm like Lex Luthor.
We'll call it a win-win tie because the boys got a win. They got to where they were going.
Yeah.
Your family didn't have to see you.
Right.
And you know what? It's like send them the class photo.
Right.
Send them the class photo. You know,
There's always Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up.
and it's coming right up.
Right.
How many times does Retro World Expo happen a year in this area?
Once a year.
Okay.
And then how many times does somebody become get like one step below a doctor? Like once in their lifetime, right?
but
I can congratulate this person
When they become a doctor.
Right, when they become a doctor.
Fuck with the participation trophies. Call me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you get the MD, then I'll schedule an appointment.
Right, exactly. They don't give out
I'm
awards.
a horrible sociopathic human being.
That'd be like a sketch comedy show having an award show in the middle of the episode, giving out awards for skits that haven't yet aired in said episode.
Calling it the Sketchy Awards.
Right. And Baseball Card Expo.
Right.
So
At the Howard Johnsons.
which doesn't exist. Either the Howard Johnsons where that was shot or the Sketchy Awards. But that was way, and we should stop being bricks and post some of this stuff on the social media because that's a funny skit.
They got to see it.
They do have to see it. Like the Biff needs to see this, and maybe anybody else
Maybe whoever's standing next to Biff at the time.
Biff at the time. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Unless you have any other exciting last bit news that you want to throw people's way, hit them with some knowledge.
I think we should all stick around for this week's sideshow because, boy, you are in for a time.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I've been more anxious about recording a sideshow.
Yeah. Me neither.
So thank you for the few follows. Thank you for the few people who have written reviews on iTunes. Thank you for sharing this on your Facebook page.
And by the way, if you have a compliment that you want to make to Jacques listen, nobody on Facebook, I think one or two people on Facebook like me. All right. I understand. I'm an antisocial fuck on Facebook. I don't post enough to our Facebook page. I get it. It's all my fault that we're not producing enough to generate the amount of feedback that we're craving. But those of you who, and I know Jacques isn't on Facebook. Spoiler alert, Jacques is not on Facebook. So if you know Jacques, you want to compliment him or say something about the podcast to him, you just text him, you email him, you keep it between yourselves. That's all fine and dandy. But then the rest of us, me,
the rest of the cast and crew,
the rest of the cast and crew are not
Jim.
Right. We are not seeing this wonderful feedback. So maybe just I know Jacques not going to see it unless I take a screenshot of your compliment on our Facebook page and then text it to him.
Or insult.
Yeah.
I'll take any attention. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
Right. It's got you this far.
Thank you.
But yeah, listen, so even though you know that Jacques not on Facebook and he's not going to see this compliment, or you don't want to be associated with this podcast in any way, shape, or form, you don't want to leave an electronic trail that leads back to your door saying that you've actually listened to this podcast, be brave, be strong, do not despair. Put a comment on our Facebook page saying, yeah, I listened, or hey,
Stop.
Just stop. Like, you can't talk. Like, this is how you talk in real life, and now you're recording it for posterity? What? What are you doing with your life? What do you want to do with your life? I want to rock.
So that, and more importantly, do not forget